I was out shopping for groceries when I noticed something.
Protein pancake.
Protein Cheez-Its.
Protein infused water.
Protein juice.
Greek yogurt protein.
Protein donut.
Weetabix protein.
Protein cereal.
Protein shakes.
Protein coffee.
High protein milk.
Protein.
Protein.
Which got me thinking, why is protein in everything now? Now the obvious answer is because we buy it, and we have been for a very, very long time, longer than you might think. As far back as the late 1800s, Germans were buying a protein powder called plasmon to stimulate muscle growth, and bodybuilders have been guzzling it ever since. But something has changed, and in researching this video, I came across a few things that I didn't expect, including something that was a little darker than I was anticipating. So I'm just going to lay out everything I learned and see if I can make some sense of it. So let's start with the basics. What actually is protein? And I'm not ashamed to admit that I actually had to look this up. Protein is a vital nutrient which does many wonderful things for our bodies, but its biggest job is repairing and building muscle. Without protein, our muscles would shrink as old cells naturally die. Fortunately, protein is found in many foods, appearing in higher quantities in meat and dairy products. But it's not these natural sources of protein that caught my interest. I want to know about the products on shelves that are artificially stuffed with this stuff. This is powdered protein. Specifically, it's whey protein, which is the most common variant you'll find in the supermarket. And despite its medicinal appearance though, it doesn't come from the underground laboratories of a pharmaceutical company. Whey protein comes from milk. To make a long story short, some 3,000 years ago, a man took milk to market inside the stomach of a dead calf. The enzymes in the calf's stomach started curdling the milk, leaving curds and whey. The curds were basically cheese, and the whey was this useless, pungent water that you'd pour away. Fast forward to the 1950s, and cheese has taken over the world. America alone has some 25 million dairy cows, producing enough milk for 1 billion pounds of delicious cheese, and 9 times as much of this useless water, which cheesemakers would just pour down the sewer or into the nearest river. But this waste product wasn't just water. It was highly damaging to the rivers it's being poured into. In fact, whey is 175 times more pollutive than raw sewage. And that's because whey is full of lots and lots of organic stuff, including loads and loads of protein. Eventually, Congress would bring in laws to regulate whey dumping, and the private sector eventually would come up with its own use for this industrial waste product. Buckets and buckets of protein powder. But before that could happen, the world had to get over its obsession with another diet fad. In the 80s and 90s, the hot thing in healthy living wasn't to consume more protein, it was to eliminate fat from your diet. That's when you saw a massive explosion of low-fat and low-sugar alternatives, things like Diet Coke and I can't believe it's not butter. Then in the 2000s, there was a change because the Atkins diet established itself in the zeitgeist. Now you could have fat in moderation, but you reduce your carbohydrates. Importantly though, you increase your protein intake. So protein was moving up the ladder, but this was about consuming more meat and eggs. This wasn't about guzzling down powder. But flip the calendar forward a decade or so, and things are entirely different. Gen Z are healthier than ever. They're drinking less, smoking less, and they're going to the gym in their droves. Gym use is actually at double the amount it was before the pandemic. And the magic bullet to multiplying those gains is products like whey protein, which is made by taking that disgusting waste water and carefully evaporating it until you're left with just the protein-rich powder. And there are other kinds of protein like soy protein and casein. And today you have protein breakfast cereals, protein drinks, and protein desserts. We're literally being encouraged to have protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The question is it too much? Yeah. In a textbook case of history repeating itself, some scientists have been keen to warn us about the potential pitfalls of this new trend. According to America's Department of Health and Human Services, most people in the US already consume as much protein as they need in their regular diet. They don't need more of it, and you can have too much of it. It's not going to give you love handles, but too much protein can damage your kidneys or even your bone density. But there is another thing which researchers have highlighted, which is that in our pursuit for high protein products, we risk accidentally cutting out other things from our diet. So if you are regularly reaching for a protein shake rather than a banana, then you're missing out on all that vital potassium. Now, most people who enjoy the occasional protein shake or protein breakfast cereal are going to be 100% completely, utterly, totally fine. But these products do take protein supplements and make them normal. Up to just a few weeks ago, I used to have protein shakes with every single lunch, just because I thought it was healthier than a sugary fruit drink and tastier than water. It's pernicious. So look, just like monitoring your fat and your sugar intake is good for you, so is monitoring your protein intake. If you have too much of it, then at best, you've wasted some of your money buying these expensive products and your body will just pee out the protein it doesn't need anyway. At worst, you'll do yourself a little bit of damage. At the beginning of the video, I said that the reason why protein is everywhere now is because we buy it. And that's because we're buying into a trend. The point is, high protein everything is the latest diet fad. And like all of these fads, it'll probably go away after a couple of years. But while it is here, manufacturers are more than happy to sell us exactly what we want.